like they just picked her right. Are you ready for the next comedian? Yeah! She just recently moved here from San Francisco. She is the founder of GrowthMVP. Put your hands together for Michelle Waite!
Wow, this is amazing. It's great to see some friendly faces in the house. Hi, Mom. Thank you for being here. Let's give it up again for Dave and Matt. So it's really cool to be up on stage here as all of us are kind of stretching ourselves outside of our comfort zone. As entrepreneurs, I think we're kind of used to taking risks. I've taken a big risk this year. This year I quit my job and I started my own company called GrowthMVP. I've also taken some other types of risks in my life. I've actually jumped out of an airplane. I've eaten tarantulas in Cambodia. And I've even climbed an active volcano in the middle of the night just to see the sunrise. But I have to say, being up on stage tonight, here, doing stand-up, is probably the riskiest thing I've ever done. Because it's being recorded tonight. If something goes wrong here, it's gonna last forever. Dave, where are you? I might have to hire a reputation rhino to take it down later on. But I think we'll all be okay as long as there's no hecklers in the audience tonight. Jeff Waite, I'm talking to you. That's my husband, by the way. I would actually have a problem with hecklers. And it's probably not what you think. Really, I'm the type of person that always wants to see the best in the other person. I know, it's 2023, the end of the world is coming, and people suck. But I want to see the best in people. I know that typically, if you're a comedian, you want to take the heckler down, right? Not me. I would want to understand, get into the mind of the heckler. Understand where they're coming from, why they're thinking the way they're thinking. Why are they saying don't quit your day job when this is obviously not my night job? The interesting thing is that I think this empathetic mindset has helped me in my career as a marketing person. But I don't always use that same empathy with my own husband. And it gets us into arguments every once in a while, especially when we're in the car. So we'll be driving down the street, down 275, and he'll be getting pissed off at everybody around us. All the idiots that are on the road. And you know what, he's probably right, but I never support him in these moments. I'm typically saying something like, well, I don't think they meant to do that on purpose, or... You know, we all make mistakes sometimes, and I know that this is probably the worst thing that you're going to want to say to somebody who's having road rage. I mean, he's mad at the people who are driving on the streets, he's now mad at me, and he's driving the frickin' car. So I think, you know, he sometimes will turn to me and he'll say things like, why can't you just be on my side for once? I mean, you've got two middle fingers, use them. I think the problem is I really don't like conflict. I try to avoid conflict at all costs. And you know what, I'm a nice person. They might call me like an anti-Karen type of person, but I actually, you know, I think sometimes that this is difficult because there are scammers that see me coming from a mile away. Being a nice person doesn't always benefit you. We were living in San Francisco a few years ago, and I hired a company to come clean our chimney. So the day of the appointment, the doorbell rings, I open the door, and there stands two guys that just look like they smoke crack and a wetback.
What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly. It was my first mistake, right? But I let them in the house nonetheless. I showed them the living room and let them get to it. About an hour later, I hear the vacuum cleaner is still running, and I'm wondering what's going on. So I walk to the front of the house, and I find the wetback in the middle of the living room floor on high speed, and not a crackhead to be seen anywhere. So I stick my head out the front door, and there are the two guys smoking cigarettes, but they were smoking. And they look at me with this panicked look on their face, because obviously I'm being scammed, right? But in my mind, of course, this crazy mind of mine sometimes, I think, well, maybe they've already finished the job, and they're just airing out the vacuum cleaner. Seriously, airing out the vacuum cleaner, that is definitely not a thing. And I didn't send them away. I didn't. I paid them. And I think I actually gave them a tip as well. So the older I get, the less I find myself giving people the benefit of the doubt. I was on a walk about a week or two ago around my neighborhood in St. Petersburg. And I decided that I was going to treat myself to a blueberry scone at Cassis, my favorite bakery, run by a couple of Polish women in downtown St. Pete. So I walk up to the bakery, and what do I see but the frickin' bicycle people, the cycling people. You know the ones, come on, they're the ones that have $10,000 bikes, they're takeover beach drive on Saturday morning, exactly. And they have the tight shirts, they have the tight shorts, but we all know they don't have the physique of the Tour de France cyclist. So anyway, I decide that I want a scone so bad, I'm going to go in anyway. I go into the store, I stand in line, and who's at the front of the line but the king of spandex? This guy wants to be seen, he wants to be heard, he's chatting everybody up in the line. He's ordering his special coffee from the person behind the counter who only would know what his special coffee is. And the line is getting longer and longer. He steps up to the counter, he whips out his phone, not to pay. No, he whips out his phone to show them the pictures of his recent trip to Poland. This is the moment where, Jeff wasn't with me at the time, but this is the moment where I was wishing that he was there, because he would be saying all kinds of snide remarks and making insults to this guy, just loud enough so he could hear, as well as everybody else in the store. So, all I know is I was wishing he was there so that I could have gotten my scone a lot faster than I did that day. Here's how my crazy brain works though. I was walking home after the scone shop, after visiting the bakery, and I'm imagining in my head this interaction with this gentleman. I walk up to him outside of the bakery, I pull him aside, because I don't want him to be embarrassed in front of his cyclist friends. And I tell him, you know what, you've got such a great personality, you know, Poland, so cool, love Poland, but you might want to be a little more considerate about people around you. Did you not see the 20-something people standing in line behind you? And he would turn to me and thank me, and he would drive down the road, a more enlightened and considerate man. That's scenario one. Scenario two is that he would go all male Karen on me, and the video with me, him, and his spandex would go viral on TikTok. Where's Dave? Dave, I think I need to put Reputation Rhino on a retainer.
Yes, do it.
In fact, between Jeff and we have 2 kids in their 20s, we might need a family plan. Yeah, we have 2 kids. One lives in New York City, one is in San Francisco. And I got the opportunity to visit my daughter in New York City not too long ago, and it was great. I also got to see Bono. You know, Bono of U2 fame. Who knows Bono? Everybody knows Bono. He was doing a one-man show about his life called Surrender. It was meant to be inspirational and emotional, and I'm sure it was. But the whole time, seriously, I could not think of anything else except for the fact that aging male rock stars have the worst haircuts in the world. I mean, you are Bono. Get a new hairdresser. You look like you just stepped out of the Tallahassee Supercuts. The whole business in the front and party in the back doesn't work. Didn't work in the 80s and it doesn't work now. The 80s. The 80s were an interesting fashion period. I was in high school in the 80s, and I actually went to a Catholic high school, so the inspiration for fashion were nuns, which is not a good look. We had nuns that were the principal, the vice principal, the teachers, and we even had a nun who was our guidance counselor. That was always weird to me. The person who's supposed to inspire and guide you and open up all the possibilities to the world hadn't left the convent in 17 years. Unless you were going to be a nun, I don't think she was going to guide you anywhere. In fact, they probably should have made her the sex ed teacher because she knew just as much about that. Anyway, I don't know why I'm so hard on Sister Rainita, who was the guidance counselor, not on the crackheads who had the wet back who scammed me. I think I might need to think about that a little bit more deeply. But I think, Jeff, on the trip home, maybe we can talk about this a little bit more. Unless you put me on middle finger duty, then I guess Sister Rainita's going to have to wait.
Thank you, everybody.